I like I want to go right into the zone because Matchroom, because I seen that you posted something on X talking about that you would love to see Usyk versus Obataya and David Benavidez. So let's go right into that main event on Matchroom. What you think about Usyk beating Dubois?
Um, it was a tremendous win, but I ain't gonna lie, I did expect him to win. I thought the promoters did a good job of selling that low blow, but he dominated the first fight. And it is what it is. The Bulls was coming on after Usyk had beat him and he was on a good, run. So, it kind of made him look like well, not made him look. He did earn a rematch because he's been on a hot streak. But I just felt like Usyk dominated the first fight, and he kind of made him. I don't want to use the word quit because that's people don't like that word, but he kind of just made him just surrender with a jab the first fight, and everybody forgot that. Discussing boxing with people is tough because all everybody like looks at is the controversial point or like maybe like I don't know. They just kind of have like a subjective preference on what they want to see. And I'm like, he was beating his ass that first fight. Why is everybody making it seem like he got lucky with the low blow or like he could have got stopped? What I saw was a borderline shot, whether you want to call it low or not. And I saw Usyk milk it a little bit. You know what I mean? That's what smart fighters do. I'm from Philadelphia. Bernard Hopkins was a master of that. They thinking so fast they could just milk a moment. I didn't see a guy that would have been counted out had the referee like if the referee ruled it a good shot, he would have just got up. You know what I mean? I didn't look at it like he got stopped by a low blow. But nevertheless, the Bulls just can't do nothing with him. As crazy as this may sound, Usyk, some fighters are just like this. They have more trouble with smaller, agile guys than bigger guys. A man 250 pounds is never going to have the stamina or the agility of Usyk. It's funny because I was very high on Jared Anderson, the American heavyweight. And I
Hmm.
used to have people tell me all the time, I'm like, yo, man, that kid could fight. I like him. And I used to have people all tell me all the time, like, he too small. And I'm like, he like 6'3", 240. How's that too small? No, he too small. You gotta be. I'm like, if he don't make it, it won't be because of his lack of size. It just because he's not good enough. But 6'3", 240 is not too small. If you're too big, you lose agility, you lose reaction time, and most of all, you lose stamina because your heart got to lug around all that weight and all the muscles. So it's so funny because I feel vindicated. I always believe Ali's the best heavyweight ever. And all you need to be is about 215, 220. And then now in this era, the funny thing is the best puncher has been Wilder, and he's a guy that's under 220. And the best heavyweight has been Usyk, and he's a guy that came from cruiserweight. So I feel vindicated because so many people will argue, you got to be a modern guy, 6'6", 2. I'm like, that's such bullshit. Now look, all Usyk does is just wear those guys out. They don't have the agility or the stamina, and he can take a punch. So, them clipping him with a big shot is out of it because he always keeps his hands up. He always knows what he's doing. He always has a sense of awareness. He never get hit with the kill shot. Uh, his only weakness is he might be a little bit sensitive to body shots, but that don't stop nothing. Everybody got a weakness, and he's just a great fighter, man. And I'm kind of vindicated, because these is like little private arguments I will have with guys in the gym, like the modern heavyweights, and I'm like, Tyson, Lewis, Ali, they'll be just fine in this era. I'm telling y'all, you don't have to be that big. Now look, and it was a great victory. Uh, Good victory because he already beat him before. He really was still undisputed. They just took his belt and then gave it back to him. But he the real deal, man. That's we watching a great fighter in real time.
Obataya. Now that fight is definitely, obviously Usyk was once upon a time the undisputed cruiserweight champion. Um, that fight per se, how do you feel about it? I know that Eddie Hearn is really, talking about it a lot. He feels like that's the big fight for Usyk.
I like that fight, man. I'm gonna tell you why. I've been watching Usyk's career. Like I probably saw at least 15 of his fights.
Mm.
His toughest fight was the dude Maris Bradis. That was his toughest career fight. Watch that fight on YouTube when you get a chance. In the World Series boxing, and you tell me who won that fight. That was his tough fight. Toughest fight. Uh, and because he had the agility to slide up on Usyk, he had the agility and the reaction time to see the punches coming. He wasn't so wore out by Usyk's bouncy rhythm because he's a smaller man also, and he understands, and his conditioning is better than these big heavyweights. I'm not saying that Benavidez or Apatai can beat him. What I'm
Yep.
saying is they'll present a different set of problems, and Usyk won't be able to wear them out after 6 or after 8, where those guys, the bigger guys, are sucking for air, and they know they got to deal with this for 12 rounds, where them guys is going to get stronger as the fight goes on also. And I said Benavidez because Benavidez has an elite engine. He has an elite engine. And Benavidez at this point in his career might be a little quicker than Usyk. And everybody bases everything on size. And I'm not saying Benavidez could beat him because I would pick Usyk to beat them. I'm not saying, but I'm telling you, both of those guys are giving him a better fight than Daniel Dubois did. Both of them will. Mark it down. I'm telling you. Maris Breeders gave him his toughest career fight. And I'm going to tell you who else gave him a tough fight that people don't remember, would choose not to remember. Michael Hunter, back in the day on HBO. I watched that fight. Michael Hunter was right with him. I'm telling you, you need smarts, you need an engine, and if you're too big, he'll eat you up. That size don't work with him. Some guys, a fragile guy who can't take a punch, the size is a big deal too. But a guy like Usyk and guys like Ali and Holyfield, they physically tough to them because they could take the punches. So now it comes down to agility and skill and stamina and those things. And they usually have more than that. So that's why a Holyfield can beat a Riddick Bowe. It can beat a big George Foreman. That's why he is able to do that. He could beat a Buster Douglas at 240 pounds when he's 208. That's why Usyk can beat a Joshua, a Dubois, and a Fury. That's why Ali could beat a Ernie Terrell. The bigger guys are easier for them because they don't have the agility to jump around and catch them. And then when the stamina kicks in, the bigger guys is tired. Now they just a big target. They just a sitting duck. So Usyk, what he really does is just kind of just pesters you to death and just drives you crazy. And then the next thing you know, you tired and you sucking for wind. And then those punches, people say he's not a big puncher. All punches hurt. A 200-pound man hitting you is going to hurt you. And the puncher in the fight is the guy who takes the other guy punches the best. So Usyk takes Dubois punches better than Dubois take Usyk's punches. So Usyk is the puncher. Just telling you, bro. I'm just telling you, we need a smaller guy. I seen the kid Moses in Tama. He's good, but I don't know if Usyk could get credit because he's so young. I think he's like 20, 21 years old with like 12, 13 fights. So if he was to fight him, it'll kind of be like, this guy is green, you picking on him. And I don't know if his handlers will put him in with a guy like Usyk. But Opatai and Benavidez are seasoned veterans, and I'm telling you, they could give him some work. They can't beat him because he's special, 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 special. Might be the best fighter of the whole era. He could be the best fighter of the decade. He could be the best fighter of the whole 2000s. Probably Floyd is, but you know, like he's in the top 3 or 4. He's that good. So I'm not saying he could beat him. I'm just saying it's a different kind of fight. And we'll see. You'll see what I mean by I'll give you another example. Look at Canelo. Canelo lost to Floyd at 154, 152, whatever it was. But then he went up and beat guys at 168 because Canelo has more trouble with speed than he do a big guy trying to walk him down because he got such good defense and he can see the punches. That don't matter to him. James Toney is like that. James Toney had tough times with guys at middleweight, Reggie Johnson and Mike McCallum. And then he lose to Roy Jones at 168, lose to Montel Griffin at 175. And then he's beating cruiserweights and heavyweights because they standing right in front of him and they can't react to the punches. Just some guys are just wired like that. And I really suspect that Usyk is like that.
Mm. I like it. Now, getting into another fight, we had Diego Pacheco versus Trevor McCombie, a guy that you guys was able to fight with Caleb Plant. What's your thoughts on his performance?
I just think he just kind of just said, "I'm just going to win the fight and just outbox him."
Do you feel like it was an impressive performance? I mean, tell me, like, how do you rate Diego Pacheco at
Um,
168 pounds?
it was what you call a solid performance. He ain't like the world on fire, and but it was solid.
Do you feel like that could be? I mean, obviously, Jose Benavidez talks very highly of Diego Pacheco, saying that this is going to be the big guy, the guy, possibly even fighting Canelo. They shared the ring with each other at once upon a time. I mean, what do you think about Diego Pacheco and his chances with the top guys at 168, including Canelo Alvarez?
I think he's a major player. He can fight. I like him. He can fight. He's good. Good fight will be him and Hamza Shariz. One of those guys since
I
David
like that
Benavidez
fight.
left the division. One of those young guys gotta probably knock off a couple more young guys to establish himself as the guy to challenge Canelo. Since Benavidez has left, nobody has really racked up some kind of victories to say that I'm the guy. You know what I mean? Hamza Shariz just stepped in the right direction with beating Edgar Berlanga, but maybe one or two more victories for him, and then it'll say I'm the actual number one contender to the throne. They kind of got to sort it out themselves. We could play matchmaker all day, but they got to sort it out themselves and make a fight and make it so because Canelo don't have the time to fight all of them. He can't fight Pacheco and Billy, Sharish. That's not fair. They should fight each other and then figure out who is the guy for Canelo to set up like a big fight as a title challenger.
What type of name do you? I mean, do you think that Hamza Shiraz? I mean, I like that fight that you just mentioned. Who do you feel like you would favor in that fight? I mean, Diego Pacheco's normally the taller fighter in most of his matches, but in that particular fight, he might be the smaller guy.
I don't know.
Might
I
be
got
the
to
same
think about.
size.
Yeah, I got to think about it.
Okay.
I got to
Okay.
think about it because I don't want to say because Pacheco just went the distance and Shiraz just won a big knockout. So it might, sometimes you could kind of fool yourself and stutter. So I gotta like look at them and see uh how I feel about the fight. Um it's close. It's about 50-50 right now. They both got excellent trainers. I like Andy Lee as a trainer. And I think Jose Benavidez is good. He does a good job with his sons and Pacheco. I gotta just see. I gotta see.
I like it. What do you think about Bam Rodriguez on that card?
Bro. Man, he's super bad. He bad. It's a bad boy. He if he wasn't so young and wasn't at such a low weight, people would be putting him in a pound for pound discussion. That's how good he is.